This is a CF Moto U10 Pro, and so is that, and so is that. The difference between these machines is basically how they've been outfitted with factory accessories. In this video, I want to show you some of the more popular accessory options that you have for the U10 Pro and show you ways that you can make your machine more comfortable or more functional for your own use. Let's get into it. Before we get started, I wanted to do a big thank you to Zaco Sports Center here in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. They've been a long-time supporter of the channel, and odds are if you've seen something that I've reviewed, it's likely come from their inventory. They are a CF Moto, Honda, Yamaha, and Indian motorcycle dealer in Chippewa Falls. They have a great selection of new and used product, and if you're in the area, I highly suggest you check them out. With that being said, on to the review. All right, we're going to bring you to our first vehicle that's accessorized here. This is a 2025 U10 Pro, and it has it's outfitted in a way that I like to call it the summer cab kit. What that means is you have a really nice set of half doors here. We got a front and rear bumper on here, a power windshield, and the rear glass sliding window as well, all added on to make this a nice summer cruiser. Let's show you these doors. So these doors are made of a molded plastic, and they are actually very easy to install. They come in at a very fair price of $1,000 for the pair of doors, and I would rate this as probably a 3-beer type of install. All you got to do is take off some of the older bracing and then the old net system, drill a couple holes into the side of the dash panel there so you can mount your door latch, and then just bolt onto the doors to the back portion of the frame. One of the greatest things about these doors is actually they are at a perfect height for just cruising around in comfort. This piece that comes back down here rests nicely against my arm. It's super comfortable, nice rounded edges, so I don't feel anything digging into my arm or anything like that. They're easy to open and close. Now that of course comes down to adjustment. When you put these on, you are going to have to do a little bit of adjusting so they do open and close that easy. But they're a nice system, and they don't rattle like some of the Honda Pioneers do with a similar style door setup. So if you're looking for a half door option, this is a great way to go. The next thing we got on here is kind of a twofer. This is your power tip out windshield, and then you also have your wiper system. Now this is the same windshield and wiper system that you would get if you got a Highland version of this machine. And it works well in this case too, because with the summer cab, there are going to be days that it's going to be raining, there are going to be kind of nights that it's probably cold, or days that it's cold, where you want the full wind protection of a glass windshield. But the nice thing with this system here is that this windshield can actually power tip out, and you can get a little bit of airflow in through the bottom if you'd like, while you're cruising at I'd probably say at a lower speed down the trail. Of course, the other nice thing with it being glass is it is far more scratch resistant than a polymer windshield is. I know they have hardcore polymer windshields out there, and they do okay as long as you take care of them, but this allows you to be a little bit more carefree with your windshield maintenance and provide you with many years of a clear visibility out of the windshield. Now the windshield itself comes in at $1,200, and it isn't too difficult to install. It is something you could do yourself, but it'd probably go a little bit faster if you had your dealership do it. I'd say if you were to do this, I'm from Wisconsin, so my drinking terms are a little bit different than the rest of the world's probably, but I'd still say that this is probably a 3 or 4 beer job. Now onto the wiper portion, of course that is sold separately. The windshield again is $1,200. The wiper comes in at $430, and that has a remote reservoir for your washer fluid that is stored in the back, right behind the bed of the machine. And if you're installing that, again, it's not the hardest thing in the world, but it does take a little bit of time. So I'd say, probably add another 3 beers on to do the install time of that wiper there. Now, if you're going to have a front windshield, you're probably going to want to have some sort of a rear window type thing in it. And in this case here, we have, again, our glass sliding window from CF Moto. This guy comes in at a price of $470. It's a fairly easy thing to install. I'd say probably 1 to 2 beers if you were going to take it on yourself. It seals very nicely, and again, it's the same type of windshield that you'd have if you bought this in Highland form. The nice thing about this, of course, is you have access to your rear bed in the form of that rear slider that opens and closes very easily. And again, it's just a really nice fit, and it's a really nice rear window for actually a fair price. Now, one downfall of the U10 Pro, one feature that I think it's missing that it should have right out of the box is some sort of front bumper. So from the factory, there really isn't anything to protect this plastic grille or anything. That's why they offer this heavy duty bumper for $499. It's a nice bumper, relatively easy to install. 1 to 2 beers again, if you're going to go off of that metric. But it's a very heavy duty steel. I'm not sure what the gauge is, but it's a really nice, you know, not flexy type of steel. Has a nice bull bar right here. Stylish and functional, protecting the meat and potatoes of the front of your machine. But if you're going to add a front bumper, you should probably also add a rear, which I'm going to show you right now. Now, just like up front, the back of this machine does not have any rear protection. So this rear bumper from CF Moto does a nice job of adding a little bit of protection to your tail lights, a little bit down there, and a little bit to the muffler. There's still some exposed parts here, but basically, you know, if you're backing up and you hit something, this sticks out a little bit further than everything else and should at least give you a nice fair warning. It's easy to install. It comes in at $259. Would take you probably a beer or less to get this thing thrown on. And it's a really nice thing if you're already adding the front bumper. You might as well throw one on the back. All right, so just to recap, this is what I call, again, the summer cab version of the U10 Pro. Again, you feature a glass windshield, glass rear window, front and rear bumpers, and then the half doors. All told, these accessories just themselves, not including any installation labor, come in at $3,850. So for just under $4,000, that's what you spend to basically get these accessories. And then if you're going to have your local dealership install them, you know, they're going to charge you whatever their labor rate is and whatever they view it as time to charge. Of course, you can save money by just buying a case of beer and doing it yourself, but just to give you an idea, that's what a system like this would cost. Now, let's say you live in an area where I live and you need to have something that keeps you warm in the wintertime because you got a decent snowstorm going on, you know, 5 months out of the year. So let's show you a machine that has some accessories that can get you along through those cold winter nights. All right, so here's our other machine we're going to feature in this video. And at first glance, this might look just like a Highland, and it kind of is in a sense, but this is not a Highland. This is a standard U10 with some accessories on it. So first off, there's some carryover stuff in here, like the glass windshield that tips out with the wiper on it, the glass rear window like you saw on the last machine, but now instead of the half doors, we went with the full set of power doors, just like what you'd have in the Highland. So these have a mirror relocation kit that they come with, so you're going to move your mirrors from the frame mount over here right onto the door itself. And these doors are just like the Highland, the fact that they are powered, they have backlit lights on them, they open and close very nicely. A really nice set of doors there. So this is a way to take your standard U10 that you might already own from you know, prior year, or maybe you didn't have the money to buy one, or you didn't find the need initially, and now you want to enclose it. You can add these doors to your current Highland. One caveat to this, currently when you order these doors, they only come in one color, and that is in black. You can get the fill panels of different colors, but you have to order those separately. So unless you have a black machine, you're going to be spending a little bit more on the doors. The door price, I don't remember off the top of my head. I think they're around $3,800 or something like that. I'll have the exact price down below. But if you're adding one of these colored panels, you're going to add, I think it's around 160 bucks additionally to get the color to match either your camo machine or your red one. Moving on from the doors, the other thing that this guy has, and it's not something that I'll tell you my thoughts on it in a second, but the other thing this has is a factory heater from CF Moto. So the factory heater basically gives you the look of a Highland. You're going to have similar controls to what the Highland has, but keep in mind, you cannot add AC to one of these machines. The only way you can get AC in one of these is if you buy it right from the factory in Highland form. So this heater looks like, you know, you use all the same vents that you do in the Highland. You have defrost, you have your 4 vents. This one actually is missing one of the vents because, you know, even though we have good technicians here, stuff happens. And unfortunately, when they were installing one of the vents, it did crack. So we're waiting on a replacement one. The thing with this is the heater kit itself is $1,000, okay? So there are other less expensive aftermarket options out there. They don't look as nice, they don't integrate as nice as this does, but the other aspect of this is highly labor intensive. And when I say that, I mean to the point where to install the CF Moto heater system, you actually have to basically take this machine all the way apart, pull the dash away so you can run your heater hoses and everything, pull the floor out, pull the seats out so you can get and replace the other coolant lines to run the hoses into the heater core itself. But the big thing is you have to remove the intake manifold off the engine in order to gain access to run some of the plumbing as well. And because of all that, if you're gonna do this yourself, I mean, this is a high level job as far as your skill level, but it's also a very, I would say, I don't even want to put the amount of beers that it would take to do this, because it took us, I think it was like 15 or 16 hours to do our first one, because this machine was already set up as a cab unit. So we were kind of working against ourselves because you have to pull it down so far. But once we realized you have to pull the intake to do this particular heater system, I almost start to wonder if it's really worthwhile doing. So that being said, this heater system is probably not, a top choice if I was recommending it to somebody. But in this case, we had to try it. We had to see what it's all about, and we learned from doing it. So it's very nice, but it comes at a higher expense. The other thing that we did to this to make it a little bit more Highland-like on the inside was adding a roof headliner to this. Now these headliners, they come in at I think $160. They're a super nice touch to add a little bit more premium feel. You could add this to even an open cab model if you wanted just a nicer overall appearance. I don't know if it probably, when you cab these, it probably did help with killing some of the sound, because you have a little bit less refractive material up high to have the sound bounce around. So I'm guessing that they helped and quiet the cab down. But it's a nice thing that's very easy to install. Have a beer, throw this in real quick, and away you go. And it's rather inexpensive for the appearance that you get and some of the function that you get. Now there's one more thing on this machine that makes this a perfect side-by-side for living up here in the Northland. So you're gonna notice on the front of this machine, we have our regular winch here, but it has a little bit of a different looking cable. And that's because we added one of their essential plow kits to this machine. And let me show you what this is all about. All right, had to get to a little bit different angle here, but we got this guy lined up. There's pins on either side of this plow mount that's on the machine. We're basically just it's gonna get loud, just to warn you. We're gonna lift up on this guy and she should lock right in. Just like so. Then we attach our winch cable here onto the front of this plow. And then with our winch, we can go up and down with our plow. Now this plow system is quite robust. It is a different system than what they offered last year. This was a big redesign. They designed it in Minnesota, so the guys that are from that area, they know what to do when it comes to snow. And it's a nice system. Now this system goes up and down again with the winch. If you buy the essential kit, it does come with this strap, so you're gonna pull out your your nylon rope if you'd like to add this flat strap in place of that. I think this is about 8 foot long. You don't necessarily have to do that, but it does come with the kit. You have this release lever here. You just push forward, and then you're able to have 5 different settings for your blade angle. Now the other cool thing with this plow, they're kind of thinking ahead. On the mount here and on the blade up here, there's a couple little eye holes there, and what I suspect is that they're going to offer a hydraulic ram down the road, so you actually can raise and lower this thing with your winch, and then use a hydraulic ram to actually adjust your pivot, so you don't have to get out of the machine and adjust it. Again, that's not something that they offer yet, but I'm sure that's going to be something offered down the road. So a very nice plow system. It looks to be made of high quality steel, gusseted and reinforced in the right areas. So time will tell how these hold up, but this is what you're looking at here is going to be this year's plow machine. So I'll be able to tell you at the end of the season how well this guy does. Now I got a cheat sheet here because sometimes I forget what these costs are on accessories. When it comes to that plow system there, again, that is the essential kit, and that comes in at $1,550 basically. Now they have other kits that have some of the markers that you can put on the blade system itself and some other accessories that come with it. But the essential kit is basically what you need to get going if you wanted to plow with one of these machines. They offer this plow system across their lineup. So we have this plow system installed on a 4-wheeler as well that does really well. It actually on that ATV, it's a C-Force 1000. It actually comes on and off even easier than with this U10. but don't let that fool you. This comes on and off very easy on this U10 as well. It's just a little bit heavier plow system, being a bigger blade and being a little bit more reinforced because of the weight of the machine, but a super, super nice system. So if you were going to buy the accessories that you see featured on this machine yourself, and this is again not including the labor cost of it, but you'd be looking at $8,050 to build this thing out the way you see. That's with these doors, that's with the headliner, that's with the front and rear glass, the heater system, and the plow. Again, if you take that plow off, you figure you're right around $7,500 to kit out this machine, to turn it basically into a Highland minus the AC. So some of you may say, well, geez, why don't I just go out and buy a Highland, because the price difference, and then I also have the AC. And that's a very valid point, especially if you consider what the labor cost will likely be if you have a dealer do all the installation for you. But for those of you that maybe already have a U10 or are looking to maybe buy just a standard U10 and add this stuff down the road, this is still a very viable option for you. All the accessories that you see here are current model year accessories for 2026. This particular machine is a 2025, so you know that it is backwards compatible to the first year U10s. And I would assume that it'd be probably the same way. This chassis isn't going to be going away from us anytime soon. It seems to be a home run, so I don't see them making any major changes. So these accessories should work for years to come down the road if you're looking at one of these. So if again, I'm going to put this aside, but there's a great way to go if you already have a U10 and you're looking to accessorize it for your needs. There's other things that they offer. They have skid plate protection and A-arm guards and some trunks and stuff like that are really nice. But this is the majority of what we have added at our dealership, as far as accessories go. And you can go a little bit and save some money, by doing a poly windshield and a poly rear window and stuff like that, especially on the summer cab version. That'll save you actually a healthy amount of money. But if you want to have these outfitted the best way possible, I think glass is the way to go. So if you have any questions on anything at all, please let me know. Drop a comment below. I'll get to it as soon as I can. I try to do it within the same day and answer anything that I can within the same day you guys ask questions. If there's anything else you'd like to see after seeing these machines, let me know. I can try to make a follow-up video if needed on anything. And yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the content as we shift into the winter time. Motorcycle stuff is going to get pretty slim, but side-by-side stuff will be here for a few months now. So as always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to enjoy the ride, and we'll see you on the next one.